My name is Elena Dawson. I am 29 years old. The wine glass slipped from my mother's hand and shattered on the hardwood floor. Red wine splashed across the white tablecloth like a crime scene. Nobody moved. My father's jaw was hanging open. My older brother, Marcus, had gone completely still in his chair. His fork was frozen halfway to his mouth. The Thanksgiving turkey sat in the middle of the table, golden and perfect, steam still rising from it. But nobody was eating anymore. Grandpa Victor had just stood up. He was 83 years old, thin, with sharp blue eyes that missed nothing. He was pointing a bony finger at me. His hand was trembling, but not from age, from rage. "Elena," he said. His voice cut through the silence like a blade. "You told me the money helped you open the clinic." "What money?" I said. My heart was beating so fast I could feel it in my throat. "The $1,200 you sent me? I used it to pay off part of my student loans." "Thank you, Grandpa. I meant that." Grandpa Victor sat back down slowly. He pressed both palms flat on the table. He looked at me with an expression I had never seen before. It was horror. "I didn't send you $1,200, he said. "I sent you $275,000. The room tilted. I grabbed the edge of the table to steady myself. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. $275,000. I looked at my phone. I looked at my banking app. I saw exactly what I had seen 3 months ago. A deposit of $1,200 from Victor Dawson Trust. Grandpa looked around the table. He looked at my mother. He looked at my father. He looked at Marcus. His eyes stopped on Marcus. "Someone at this table," he said quietly, "is a thief." But before I get into what happened next, go ahead and subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me where you are watching from. My name is Elena Dawson. I am 29 years old, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina. To understand why that Thanksgiving dinner turned into a nightmare, you need to know what my life looked like 6 months before. I am a nurse. I work the night shift at a hospital in downtown Asheville. I have been a nurse for 5 years. I am good at it. I care about my patients. I hold their hands when they are scared. I stay late when my shift is over because somebody has to. I make $52,000 a year. It is not a lot, but it is honest money. I have always dreamed of opening a small community health clinic. Asheville has a lot of people who can't afford to see a doctor. They come to the emergency room for things that a simple clinic visit could handle. I wanted to change that. I had a business plan. I had a location picked out, a small storefront on Haywood Road, with good parking and bus access. The landlord was willing to lease it to me for a fair price. But the build-out, the equipment, the licensing, the insurance, all of it came to around $180,000 to get started. I went to 3 banks. Every single one turned me down. My credit score was fine, 720, but I had $68,000 in student loans from nursing school. The debt-to-income ratio killed me every time. The last loan officer, a man named Gerald, actually looked apologetic. He said, "If you had a co-signer with significant assets, we could revisit this. But on your own, the numbers just don't work right now." I thought about asking my parents. I really did. But my parents and I have a complicated history. They love me. At least I think they do. But they love Marcus more. They have always loved Marcus more. Marcus is my older brother. He is 33. He is tall and confident, and he talks like every word out of his mouth is a gift to the world. He went into real estate 5 years ago. He told everyone he was a developer. He wore expensive suits. He drove a black Mercedes. He talked about deals and investments and passive income. My parents were so proud of him. Every Sunday dinner was the Marcus show. Marcus closed another deal. Marcus is looking at a property in Charleston. Marcus might buy a boat. I called my dad on a Tuesday night. I was sitting in my car in the hospital parking lot after a 12-hour shift. My scrubs smelled like antiseptic. My feet were throbbing. "Dad," I said, "I need help. I want to open a clinic, but the bank won't approve my loan without a cosigner. Would you consider co-signing for me? I'll pay every cent. I just need your name on the paperwork." There was a long pause. I could hear my mother's voice in the background asking who was on the phone. "Elena," he said, "that is a big ask. Your mother and I just helped Marcus with a down payment on a new investment property. We put $30,000 into that deal. We can't tie up our credit right now. What if something happens?" "Dad," I said, "I am not asking for money. I am asking for a signature. I will make every payment. I have never missed a bill in my life. I know, sweetheart. But Marcus says the real estate market is about to take off. If we co-sign for you and something goes sideways with the clinic, it could affect our ability to help him with the next deal. I sat in my car and stared at the steering wheel. He had just told me that Marcus's next hypothetical deal was more important than my actual dream. You should save up more, he said. Give it another year or two. You are smart. You will figure it out. He hung up. I cried in that parking lot for 20 minutes. A security guard knocked on my window to make sure I was okay. I told him I was fine. I was not fine. I gave up on the clinic. I put the business plan in a drawer. I picked up extra shifts instead. I worked nights, weekends, holidays. I was running on caffeine and stubbornness. My apartment was a small one-bedroom near the hospital. The heat barely worked. The landlord kept promising to fix it, but he never did. I bought a space heater from Walmart and kept it next to my bed. Then I called Grandpa Victor. Grandpa Victor is my father's father. He is 83 years old and he lives in a retirement community in Savannah, Georgia. He is the sharpest person I know. He was a mechanical engineer for 40 years. He designed parts for Boeing. When he retired, he invested wisely. Grandma Rose managed their money like a general manages an army. When she passed away 8 years ago, she left Grandpa comfortable. Very comfortable. Grandpa, I said. I didn't plan to ask him for money. I just needed to hear his voice. I was tired and I was sad and I missed him. Elena, he said. He sounded delighted. How is my favorite nurse? I broke. I told him everything. The clinic idea, the banks, Dad saying no, the extra shifts, the cold apartment. I told him I was exhausted. I told him I felt invisible. Grandpa listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. Your father is a damn fool, he said. And your mother lets him be one. How much do you need for the clinic? I can't ask you for that, Grandpa. You are not asking. I am offering. How much? The build-out and first year of operating costs would be around $180,000. But Grandpa, that is too much. Even if you just helped with part of it. He cut me off. I am sending you more than that. You will need a cushion. Unexpected costs always come up. Send me your bank details. I will wire the money tomorrow morning. I am going to send you enough to build that clinic and have a safety net. Do not argue with me. I sobbed. Thank you, Grandpa. I will pay you back. Every dollar. You will do no such thing, he said. Consider it an investment. I am investing in the only grandchild who ever did anything worth a damn. Now go get some sleep. You sound terrible. I sent him my routing number and account number that night. I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. The next morning, I checked my account. Deposit received. $1,200. From Victor Dawson Trust. I stared at the screen. I refreshed it. $1,200. My stomach sank. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he checked his accounts and realized he couldn't afford it. Maybe my dad called him and talked him out of it. Or maybe, I thought, he's 83 years old and he made a mistake. Maybe he thought he was sending more, but he typed the wrong numbers. I wanted to call him. I picked up the phone. But then I put it down. How could I call my 3-year-old grandfather and say, hey, that wasn't enough? It would sound greedy. It would sound ungrateful. If he sent $1,200, then $1,200 was what he meant to send. It was still generous. It was still more than my parents gave me, which was nothing. So I swallowed my disappointment. I sent him a thank you card. Dear Grandpa, thank you so much for thinking of me. Your gift means the world. Love, Elena. I thought that was the end of it. I went back to my shifts. I worked days and nights. I picked up overtime whenever it was available. I ate ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches. I lost 15 pounds. My supervisor pulled me aside and asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine. That word again. Fine. Then came Thanksgiving. My parents' house smelled like roasted turkey and cinnamon candles. It was warm and bright. The dining room table was set with my mother's best china. Marcus was already there when I arrived. His Mercedes was in the driveway next to a brand new boat trailer. He had actually bought the boat. Hey, little sis, he said. He was leaning against the kitchen counter, holding a glass of scotch that probably cost more than my grocery budget for the week. He was wearing a Rolex. You look tired. I work a lot, I said. You work too hard, he grinned. You need to learn how to make your money work for you. That is what I do. My father walked in and clapped Marcus on the shoulder. He just closed on a duplex in Charleston, Dad announced proudly. This kid is going to be a millionaire before he is 40. I said nothing. I poured myself a glass of water and went to find Grandpa. Grandpa Victor had driven up from Savannah. It was a 5-hour drive and my mother had begged him to fly, but he insisted. I still drive fine, he told her. The day I can't drive is the day you put me in the ground. He was sitting in the living room armchair, reading a book. When he saw me, his face lit up. He stood up and hugged me. He smelled like Old Spice and peppermint. He held me at arm's length and looked at my face. You look thin, he said. His eyes narrowed. Are you eating properly? I am fine, Grandpa, I lied. Dinner was served at 5. We sat down. Dad carved the turkey. Mom passed the stuffing. We said grace. Normal things. Family things. Marcus talked about his new property. My parents listened like he was reciting poetry. Then I decided to say something kind. I wanted to acknowledge Grandpa's gift. Even if it wasn't what I expected, it was the only help anyone had offered me. I stood up with my glass of water. I want to say something, I said. The table went quiet. I want to thank Grandpa. This year has been tough for me, and the gift you sent, the $1,200, it really helped. I used it toward my student loans. Thank you for thinking of me. The silence that followed was deafening. Grandpa set down his fork very slowly. He looked at me like I had spoken in a foreign language. $1,200? He said. Yes, I said, confused. The wire transfer in August. $1,200. That was when the wine glass fell. That was when my mother's hand went limp. That was when Grandpa said the words that cracked my world open. I did not send you $1,200, Elena. I sent you $275. Everything after that happened fast. My mother tried to laugh it off. Oh, Dad, she said, her voice too high. You probably made a mistake at the bank. You know how confusing those wire transfers can be. Grandpa turned his head to look at her. His eyes were ice. I sat with my banker for 45 minutes, Linda. I signed the paperwork. I watched him process it. I have the receipt in my briefcase. $275,000. Wire transfer to Elena Dawson. Completed August 15th. He looked at me. Get your phone. Show me your account. I pulled up my banking app with shaking hands. I showed him the screen. August 15th. Deposit. $1,200. Victor Dawson Trust. Grandpa pulled a folded document from his jacket pocket. He always carried important papers on him. Old school habit from his engineering days. He unfolded it on the table. It was the wire transfer receipt. $275,000. Recipient, Elena Dawson. Status, completed. The numbers were right there. $275,000 sent. $1,200 received. $273,800 missing. Grandpa's face was like granite. He picked up his cell phone. Dad, what are you doing? My father said. His forehead was glistening. I am calling the police, Grandpa said. Someone stole $250,000 from my granddaughter. Can we just talk about this? My mother pleaded. It is Thanksgiving. Grandpa ignored her. He dialed 911. He reported grand larceny. He gave the address. He hung up. Then he sat back down and folded his hands on the table. Nobody touched their food. The police arrived in 14 minutes. 2 officers. A young woman named Officer Patel and a senior detective named Sergeant Holloway. They came into the dining room. The Thanksgiving turkey was still steaming on the table. Sergeant Holloway looked at the wire receipt and my phone. Ma'am, he said to me, can you pull up the full transaction history on a computer? The app might not show everything. I don't have my laptop, I said. It is at my apartment. Use mine, Marcus said. He stood up quickly and offered his iPad. His voice was steady, but his hand was not. I logged into my bank's website. We gathered around the screen. There it was, August 15th. Incoming wire, plus $275,000. And directly below it, same timestamp, down to the second. Automatic transfer, negative $273,800. To, 2 MDD Holdings LLC. Remaining balance, $1,200. Someone set up an auto-forwarding rule on your account, Sergeant Holloway said. See this code? It says auto sweep. Any deposit over $1,000 gets routed to this other account automatically. The system grabbed the money before you ever saw it. MDD, Grandpa said slowly. He turned in his chair. He looked at Marcus. Marcus Daniel Dawson. The color drained from my brother's face. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. My mother stood up so fast her chair fell over. No, she said. No, that is a coincidence. Marcus has nothing to do with this. Marcus, tell them. Marcus was staring at the table. His jaw was clenched. His hands were balled into fists on his knees. Son, my father said. His voice was cracking. Look at me. Tell them it wasn't you. Marcus didn't look up. His breathing was shallow and fast. Sweat was rolling down his temples. Mr. Dawson, Sergeant Holloway said to Marcus, we are going to need to ask you some questions. Who has access to Miss Dawson's banking credentials? Nobody, I said. Just me. Does anyone ever use your devices? Your laptop? Your phone? I froze. Yes. Every other Sunday, I bring my laptop to family dinner. Marcus borrows it. He says he needs to check property listings because the screen on his phone is too small for the real estate portal. I always unlock it for him and hand it over. I looked at Marcus. On August 10th, 5 days before the transfer, you asked to use my laptop. You said you needed to check a listing in Charleston. Marcus stood up violently. The table shook. Glasses rattled. I didn't do anything, he shouted. This is insane. You are all insane. Sit down, Officer Patel said firmly. She stepped closer. My mother rushed to Marcus and threw her arms around him. He is a good man, she cried. He would never steal from his own sister. Tell them, Marcus. Tell them the truth. Grandpa Victor stood up. He walked around the table. He stopped in front of Marcus. My grandfather was 6 inches shorter than my brother, but in that moment, he towered over him. The money went to a company with your initials, Grandpa said. You are the only person who uses her computer, and you are the only one at this table who has not looked surprised since I said the money was missing. Marcus broke. It was sudden and complete, like a dam giving way. I was going to give it back, he screamed. The sound was raw and desperate. I was going to pay every cent back. My deals went bad. The duplex in Charleston is underwater. The property in Greenville lost its buyer. I owe contractors. I owe the bank. I owe everyone. I just needed to borrow it. I was going to flip a property and return everything before anyone noticed. Grandpa stared at him for a long time. You stole $275,000 from your sister, he said. Your sister who works 12-hour shifts saving people's lives. Your sister who eats peanut butter for dinner. Your sister who had a dream, and you crushed it so you could cover your bad bets. I didn't know she was struggling, Marcus shouted. She always acts like everything is fine. Because nobody asks, I whispered. Because nobody ever asks me. Sergeant Holloway stepped forward. Mr. Dawson, I need you to come with us. No, my father yelled. We are family. We can handle this ourselves. We will pay it back. Don't take him. It is Thanksgiving. Grandpa looked at me. It is your money, Elena. It is your decision. Everyone looked at me. My mother was sobbing, clutching Marcus's arm. My father was pleading with his eyes. Marcus finally looked at me, and for a split second, I saw it. Contempt. Even now, even caught, he looked at me like I owed him a favor. I want to press charges, I said. My mother screamed. She called me heartless. She called me ungrateful. She said I was destroying the family. The officers handcuffed Marcus in front of the Thanksgiving table. They read him his rights while my mother wailed and my father buried his face in his hands. Grandpa put his arm around me. He held me steady. You did the right thing, he said quietly. But I didn't feel right. I felt hollow. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept turning. Marcus said his deals went bad. He said he was going to flip a property and pay it back. But something didn't add up. The auto sweep was set up on August 10th. Grandpa's money arrived on August 15th. Marcus didn't just react to a problem. He prepared for it. He knew the money was coming. I had a key to Marcus's condo. He gave it to me a year ago when he went to Miami for a conference and needed someone to feed his cat. I never returned it. I drove to his building at midnight. It was a sleek, high-rise downtown. The kind of building with a doorman and underground parking. The kind of building that costs $3,000 a month in rent. I let myself in. The condo smelled like leather and expensive cologne. It was immaculate, professionally cleaned. His office was in the second bedroom. 3 monitors. A standing desk. It looked like a Wall Street trading floor. I sat in his chair and turned on the computer. His password was Marcus D1990. The desktop was covered in folders. One folder was labeled Project Atlas. I opened it. Inside was a spreadsheet. My heart stopped. It was a detailed list of debts. Credit cards. 40. $1,000. Private lender Tony. $35,000. Construction contractors. 60. $2,000. Bank of America commercial loan. $120,000. Personal loan dad and mom. $30. Total. $288. He wasn't just behind on a deal. He was drowning. But then I saw the tabs at the bottom. One tab was labeled Sources. I clicked it. It was a list of family members with notes next to each name. Mom and Dad. Tapped out. Have given $30K this year. Cannot ask for more without raising suspicion. Uncle Ray. Suspicious. Won't lend. Already asked and was refused. Elena. Good credit, trusting, has Grandpa's ear, can be leveraged. And then, in a cell highlighted in yellow, Grandpa Victor, the jackpot, est, assets $3. 5M, vulnerability, loves Elena. Will send large sums if Elena asks. Strategy. Wait for Elena to need help, then intercept funds. He called Grandpa the jackpot. He had labeled our grandfather like a mark in a con game. He had analyzed every member of our family and calculated how to exploit them. I clicked another tab. It was labeled Execution Plan. Step 1. Get access to Elena's banking portal. Method. Borrow laptop at Sunday dinner. Step 2. Install auto sweep on her account. Trigger. Any deposit over $1,000. Step 3. Route funds to MDD Holdings LLC, registered in Delaware. Step 4. Move funds to offshore brokerage. He had pasted a link to an account in the British Virgin Islands. At the bottom of the document, there was a note in red. Test first. Move $75 to see if she notices. If she doesn't check statements closely, proceed, I remembered. In late July, I thought I had miscounted my grocery budget. I was short $75 and assumed I had forgotten about a purchase. He had stolen $75 from me to test whether I would notice. This was not desperation. This was a blueprint. I found one more file. It was named after. I opened it. It was a list. Pay off Tony, $35,000. Pay off contractors, $2,000. New Mercedes, S-Class, $95,000. Rolex Daytona, $28,000. Ski trip Aspen with boys, $8,000. He was going to pay off the debts that had people threatening him. And then he was going to buy a new Mercedes and a $28,000 watch with my clinic money. I photographed everything. The spreadsheet, the sources tab, the jackpot note, the execution plan, the shopping list. I emailed every photo to Sergeant Holloway. Then I drove to my parents' house. It was 2 a.m. The lights were still on. Of course they were. I walked in without knocking. My parents were in the living room. Marcus was there too. They had posted his bail. My mother was sitting next to him on the couch, rubbing his back, whispering to him, "It is going to be okay, baby. We will get the best lawyer." It was all a misunderstanding. I walked to the television. I connected my phone. "What are you doing?" Marcus said. He sat up straight. I showed them everything. Image by image on the 65-inch screen my father bought for football season. I showed them the debt spreadsheet. $288,000. I showed them the sources tab. Mom and Dad, tapped out. I showed them the jackpot note. I read it aloud. Grandpa Victor, the jackpot. Vulnerability, loves Elena. Strategy. Wait for Elena to need help, then intercept funds. My mother stared at the screen. Then she looked at Marcus. Her eyes filled with tears. She walked over to him. She sat on the arm of his chair. She put her arm around his shoulders. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered. "You must have been so scared. All that debt. Why didn't you tell us?" I couldn't believe it. I physically could not believe what I was hearing. "Mom," I said. Look at the screen. He planned this. He called Grandpa a jackpot. He was going to buy a $28,000 watch with my money. He was under pressure, my father shouted. He stood between me and Marcus. Can't you see that? He is drowning. Those private lenders are dangerous people. He was desperate. He was not desperate, I said. He was shopping for a Rolex. You don't understand business, Marcus muttered. He still couldn't look at me. Sometimes you have to maintain appearances to close deals. That watch was an investment. An investment, I repeated. I looked at my parents. I really looked at them, and I understood something I had been refusing to understand for 29 years. They would never choose me. If Marcus burned down my apartment, they would say he was cold. If he stole my identity, they would say he was confused. They were addicted to protecting him, and the cost of that addiction was me. I also sent these photos to the detective, I said. My father's face went gray. You did what? About an hour ago, along with the offshore account information. This is federal now. My mother lunged at me. She grabbed my shoulders. Why do you want to destroy this family? She screamed. I didn't destroy this family, I said, removing her hands. Marcus did. And you funded it. If they take him away, my mother hissed. Her face inches from mine. I have no daughter. I looked at her. The woman who gave birth to me. The woman whose approval I had chased my entire life. The woman who never once visited my apartment to see if my heater worked. You haven't had a daughter in a long time, Mom, I said. You just had someone to ignore. Sirens. Blue and red lights through the living room curtains. There was a heavy knock on the door. FBI. Open up, my mother screamed. My father tried to block the hallway. 2 agents and Sergeant Holloway came through the door with a federal warrant. New charges. Wire fraud across state lines. Money laundering through a Delaware shell corporation. Attempted transfer to an offshore account. Marcus was shaking so hard his teeth were chattering. He looked at me as they cuffed him. Elena, please, he begged. I am your brother. Help me. I looked him in the eyes. I don't have a brother, I said. They took him out into the cold November night. I watched them put him in a black SUV. My mother collapsed on the floor. My father stood in the doorway staring at nothing. You are a traitor, my mother whispered from the ground. I hope you end up alone. I won't, I said, and I walked out. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. His lawyer argued gambling, addiction, and desperation. The prosecutor held up the screenshot of the Rolex shopping list and the offshore account setup. This was not addiction, she said. This was premeditated financial predation. Marcus was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. Full restitution ordered. Every penny. My parents' world collapsed. It turned out Marcus had been opening credit cards in my father's name for 2 years. He had taken out a second mortgage on my parents' house, forging my father's signature. When the fraud was exposed, the bank called in every debt. My parents lost the house. They lost their savings trying to pay for his defense attorney, who charged $600 an hour. By spring, they were renting a 1-bedroom apartment on the other side of town. My mother called me once. Late at night, she sounded drunk. Elena, we need money. Talk to your grandfather. Tell him to help us. We are family. You owe us. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't apologize. She just asked for money. I deleted the voicemail and blocked the number. Grandpa Victor wired me the $275,000 directly, this time with me sitting in the bank next to him. He watched the banker process it. He made the banker confirm receipt on my phone before he left the building. I opened the clinic in June. It is a small building on Haywood Road with a blue door and a sign that reads Dawson Community Health. We see 40 patients a week. We offer sliding scale fees. We help people who have nowhere else to go. I hired 2 other nurses and a part-time doctor. We are not getting rich, but we are doing something that matters. Grandpa comes to visit every other month. He drives 5 hours from Savannah and refuses to fly. He sits in the waiting room and talks to patients. He tells them about the time he designed a part that went into a 747. They love him. Last spring, he handed me an envelope over lunch. It was his will. He had removed my father and Marcus entirely. Everything, his investments, his property, his savings, all of it goes to me. His estate is worth approximately $4 million. I don't want your money, Grandpa, I said. I just want you. He smiled. That is exactly why you deserve it. Marcus sent me a letter from prison last month. I recognized the return address. I held it for a moment. Then I dropped it into the recycling bin without opening it. I don't need his words. I don't need his excuses. I don't need his apology. 4 years have passed since that Thanksgiving. I am sitting in my clinic after hours. The lights are low. Barnaby, my golden retriever, is asleep under my desk. Outside, the Blue Ridge Mountains are turning orange and gold with the last light of autumn. Sometimes my mother sends emails from fake accounts. Elena, your father is sick. Elena, Marcus gets out next year. Elena, we need help. I delete them all. I don't hate them. Hate is heavy and I have carried enough weight. I feel nothing. They are characters from a story I finished reading a long time ago. A painful story, but one that is closed. If you are listening to this, and you are the one working double shifts while your sibling gets the applause, if you are the one being told you are strong enough to suffer while someone else is too fragile to face consequences, if you are the one keeping the lights on while everyone else is spending the money, stop carrying them. Put them down. Let them fall if they have to. It is cold at first when you walk away. I will not lie about that. But on the other side of that cold is something warm, something that belongs entirely to you. Freedom. My name is Elena Dawson. I was invisible. Now I am free. And that is the only ending I ever needed.